Alright then, let's see what we got here. Ah, shit, I probably should have changed this before I started. Okay, let's see if this is acceptable. Okay, let's edit this. Yeah, because I'm not on Voop chat anymore, so let me change this to... Okay, I change that to that. Since it's not Monday anymore, I can change this. Okay, let's get to the dashboard for Kick, and then let's edit this on YouTube. This should be pretty easy. There we go. So the title is updated. A little bit late, right? Just a wee bit. Let's see. Okay, so that's on Voop chat as well. I gotta change this then. Okay, so. Whoops. Okay, there we go. Change that. Save. Okay, so all three are updated now. Hello, Spartan Bot. Hello, Boo Huckley. Glad to see y'all reporting in. All right, so I guess I can just record this part two. Let's see. All right, so I just saw this not too long ago from Kuro AI Art. I don't usually take news from this individual, but, you know, it just popped up in my feed, so this is how I found out about it. They said, this is the most gut-wrenching report I've read in my life. I'm beyond radicalized at this, about this topic that I can't even express the level of disgust and hatred I feel now. Understandable. From what I understand, it actually seems to be I was right on the money as about where I thought this would actually end up being in terms of... board test. Yeah, hello, Doctor of Insanity. Did you look up the I have not yet. Thank you for reminding me though. Anyway, so yeah, so long story short, apparently the report is about as bad as everyone thought it was. I haven't read it yet. I'm gonna have to read it on my own later, but you know, I just haven't had the time to do so yet. But from the reaction I see everyone giving, it seems I was right about on the money as to where everything was going to be, because I was of the opinion that things are going to be way fucking worse than people initially suspected. But that's just because I actually happen to know a thing or two about Islam. I happen to know a thing or two about communists, you know, and their subversives. I happen to know a thing or two about a lot of these ideas, like queer theory and all that stuff, so I know a lot of where these people are willing to go. And considering how many people are, like, crying out for literal blood right now, which, to be fair, absolutely justified, again, considering what we had already known, and I had already been able to figure out was probably going to be significantly worse than that, I can't exactly blame them. This does seem to be a watershed this does kind of seem to be a historical moment for the United Kingdom, where they get to decide what kind of country they actually are, right? And I will have to say, no one did this to you, to be perfectly honest. No one has done this to any of us, right? Yeah, sure, maybe you have foreigners or, like, specific, groups that are coordinating this behind the scenes, because it turns out, again, we have apocalypticists and the like the war in Iran, right? Where we have the dispensationalists, the Chabadists, and the Twelvers all working together because they all mutually benefit, right? And the same thing where we have, like, again... singularitarians and transhumanists and communists and all these other groups working together. Because it turns out that, like, in the short term, they actually have similar goals, so they benefit by working with each other, right? But ultimately speaking, none of these groups could have done a damn thing of this if they didn't have the assent of the people we put in charge in the first place, right? Just want you to understand that. I really want you to drill this into your head, right? Before we go blaming anyone else, because yeah, sure, it was the Muslim rape gangs. Let's be fair. The Muslim rape gangs did do the rape, right? Who facilitated it? Who facilitated it? Who put these people in your country, right? who refused to deport these people when the countries cried out, right? Who refused to actually hold them to account when, again, the people cried out for justice? It was your own people that were in power. Your own people sold you out. All these people who are in power that are doing this shit to you, get them out. This is your last fucking opportunity. I'm telling you this right now, right? You have a very high probability that, again, Charles might very well be your last king. He doesn't believe in his kingship. I'm just telling you right now. If you really want to take a country back, there's a high probability things are going to get worse before they get better. But that's just because they are going to kick and scream, and they are going to try to drag everyone down if they go down. So, yeah, again, you had the Epstein situation. That was already pretty fucking bad. Let's see how many people actually got arrested from that. Oh, yeah, fucking no one, right? Let's see if the United Kingdom actually has a spine, right? But anyway, that's all I got to say is remember who did this to you. Your politicians sold you out, right? Your politicians are the people who did this to you. Make them pay. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say about this. I will read this in my own time. But I haven't had the opportunity to read it so far. I've just been seeing what people have been talking about. And yeah, again, about what I expected, to be perfectly honest. So to anyone watching this video on YouTube, hope you have a better day than everyone else is having. Because this shit is fucking horrifying. Alright, so that was that video recorded. Okay, let's close this out. So I have a couple of interesting videos lined up for today. Sorry about that little thing, but I do get tired of everyone blaming the Jews as the magical, people, or the white man, like if you're on the left, right? It's all the same magical thinking bullshit, right? Ultimately speaking, none of these groups in power could do anything unless the people in the middle section were actually willing to assent to it, right? Oh my god, they're spineless eunuchs, possibly, right? Hold on, let me get back here. Let's see. Did you look up, let's see. I hate the planned obsolescence of today's technology. Yes. And I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids. Yep. UK with the spine. Yeah, fair enough. Hello there, Long. Or at least I believe that is Long. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Alright, so today we are going to be reacting to Is It Okay for Navajo People to Love America by Navajo Traditional Teachings. Now, as you can see, I'm subscribed to this channel, right? I actually do quite like listening to this gentleman actually talk, because oftentimes, the guy has some genuine bits of wisdom that is like, oh, you know what, that's actually a really good point that people from anywhere can actually use, right? And sometimes I just learn a little bit about like Navajo culture and history, which I've always had a bit of an anthropological interest, right? So just an interesting confluence of ideas. I have reacted to a previous video from this gentleman talking about why he refuses to use the term Native American, and I had a lot to say about that, because I recognize this Marxist spook of, like, again, using language to obfuscate instead of clarify. If anyone wants to actually watch it, hold on, let me pull it up to show where it's actually at. It's on the channel, unlike my video calling out Iranian pedophiles. That one YouTube did not, the Iranian pedophile video, me complaining about the fact that YouTube took it down. You can actually watch the one about Native American identity in, on my channel. It's actually still up. Let's see. It's a little back. I think I wasn't doing the musics yet when I was making that. Yep, right here. The Remember Who You Are, Not Indigenous. Don't lose your cultural identity to Navajo traditional teaching reaction. So now about an hour and 30 minutes I got out of that. It was like a 6-minute video. So if y'all want to listen to me talk about, again, Native American, European, and fucking like Asian and African identity, there I go. That's my conversation about lineage and culture right there. But let's get into this. Let's see what this gentleman has to say. I actually have not pre-watched this one before. I did pre-watch a little bit of the previous Navajo traditional teaching video, though.
I love this country.
Based.
Because in it is the Navajo Nation. And I love my people.
Based. Okay, so I'm going to pause this because people from this particular culture, right, oftentimes the American Indian cultures, they actually use the terms country and nation correctly, right? A lot of times other speakers of English will use the two terms as if they're synonymous. They're not. They refer to two different things, right? A country is a location. A nation is a people, right? So when they talk about the Navajo Nation, they're talking about the people of the Dene tribe, right? Whereas when you talk about, again, the Navajo land, that would be the country they're particularly talking about, right? The country of the Navajo. When you talk about America as a country, you're talking about, again, the physical location of the United States. When you're talking about the American nation, you're talking about the people of the country. Right? It's a little bit of a pet peeve of mine. I see people use these terms interchangeably, and it just confuses the conversation because then it equates people to land, and it's like, no, these are two very different ideas. It's the same thing that gets me annoyed when people talk about the state of the United States, right? The government versus, again, the nation or the country. These are very different things that need to be, again, identified as separate things.
Kejähti astattiinko atasta beivotsi hikitikat behoteist aako tikat naut hosatatelliado penina tätä akitokkaa no patahan.
I'm gonna skip this part. Again, if I could understand what he's saying here, I would totally just sit here and listen to it, but I can't provide any commentary on something I literally don't understand.
250 years now coming up that the United States of America came into existence. And over the years, of course, we have accumulated then the 50 individual states that make up the United States of America. And there is a Constitution. There are a number of documents, the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence, the preamble. And all these documents are there for us to review and to really look at and to understand, what is being given to us and presented to us.
Yeah, that's your cultural heritage, right? These documents tell you where you come, where your ancestors come from, even if it's just like your inheritance through effectively adoption. If you're, again, becoming an American citizen through naturalization, it's effectively a cultural version of adoption, right? These are important. So it's like when people throw these to the side and they pretend to be conservative, it's like, yeah, no, you're not really, because you're not really paying attention to where we come from, and you're not really paying attention to what made everything work. Let's see. Kianala says, I prefer community over friendships. It's more truthful in a way and can't be broken over stupid shit. Oh, community can be broken over stupid shit. I can tell you that right now. In fact, we might be seeing certain communities, politically speaking, break apart over really stupid shit. Kura says, I don't know, I'm Roanoke Cherokee, so I don't speak Navajo. That's fair. Also, I hear, hello, Kura, right? Fair enough, Doc.
And all these things happen to us as a nation of people. Now, I say us because we are still here. And it is that we are here because the result of what took place back then. And over the years, of course, we have become a people, we the people, and we have individual rights that are protected by the Constitution, our individual rights. But it is important to understand that those rights actually apply only to us, and they end right here at the tip of our nose. And we can't infringe on other people's rights, and we can't force anybody as far as the rights that we understand for ourselves. But
I will say, well, he's accurate on this. I will also have to clarify that if you like pay attention philologically to the documents, right, you actually get in deep into how the words are being used. When it says "we the people," right, in like the Declaration of Independence, right, who is the people? The people aren't just a nebulous like global community, right? The people are very specifically those who actually have a tie to the land, right? The jurisdiction, culturally speaking, is the United States, right? So it's not just like someone comes in here and then all of a sudden, without any kind of naturalization process, they're part of we the people. No. We the people are the Americans, right? Those with the jurisdiction of the United States. They don't encompass, for example, any illegal immigrant that comes in. They're not part of we the people, right? Anyone who, for example, is just here visiting, they're not part of we the people, right? It is the body of the nation itself. The nation is we the people. So anyone outside the nation is not part of the we the people in that preamble. Just saying, right? And I have to say this because, again, it has become a customary thing to not actually read the foundational documents against each other, which is how you're supposed to read them, right? Like I pointed out, it's like the Constitution is not a self-justifying document. All right, the Constitution is instituted under the premise that it has the authority to be implemented in the first place. So then you have to ask the question, where did that authority come from? Well, we already see it in the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence is the document that actually outlines where the authority of the American to secede from the British Empire actually comes from. And it roots that in nature's law and nature's God. So there you go. You want to have a country that's founded under God. It's literally right there in the Declaration of Independence, which is a more important document than the Constitution of the United States, because the Constitution only has authority because the Declaration actually gives it the foundation to have authority in the first place. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Another issue is that, again, I pointed this out, I think, in the last Native American video, that you could tell the jurisdiction thing, like with the whole, again, the whole idea of like birthright citizenship never made any sense, right? Was it Juan Kim Ark? There was an old court case with a child who was born to Chinese, parents in the United States, but this was when the Qing dynasty was still around. Most people don't realize the Qing dynasty existed well into American history, right? But there was the whole question of, okay, so do they qualify as citizens, right? And the answer was absolutely not. This child does not qualify as a citizen because the jurisdiction that they fall under is actually not the United States, it's actually the Qing dynasty, right? So because of that, they are not born citizen, they're not given citizenship at birth because, again, there's a conflicting jurisdiction concern here. And we could also tell this because, like, again, many Native Americans aren't actual. Again, it's hard to say because, like, I was taught Native American growing up in school when I should be saying Amerindian, right? Many Amerindians are not actually U.S. citizens either, because the Constitution very clearly classifies them as a domestic dependent nation. So they're a separate nation that is, again, under the care of Congress. And there's a lot of problems that come around with this, right? And we have an entire bureau involved in Indian affairs. It's called oftentimes the Bureau of Bossing Indians Around, right? If you want to know a lot of the impoverishment of the Native Americans and their reservations, a lot of it is honestly because of like federal meddling. So, but anyway, that's besides the point. I just wanted to clarify what we the people stand for, right? Just to be clear, it's the nation of the United States. That's what we the people stand for. It does not stand for like anyone who just fucking like swims across the river to cross the border, right? It doesn't refer to anyone who's just here by happenstance. It refers to a cultural body. It refers to the people that constitute the nation of the United States. Most reservations are ignored. Yeah. That you're not wrong there. Let's see. Kura says legal citizens are the people. Exactly. Not any Tom, Dick, or Harry that step on the soil. Precisely.
But it is that this was a great country. And myself, my own position is I love the Constitution of the United States. I love the United States of America. And I think I share the feelings of our people who served in the United States Marine Corps during World War II as code talkers. We really don't understand how much those people sacrificed to do what they did, and what they left behind, and what they went to defend. I know from my own experience, when I enlisted in the mid-60s, I raised my hand to the square. I took an oath
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
I took an oath
I actually really like that they have acting in these now. That's actually really cool.
to defend and protect the Constitution of the United States of America.
Yeah, this is one of the things that really annoys me too about like about the whole idea of like, again, oh my god. There are so many people who go into the military and then they will never actually read their constitution, right? It frustrates me because it's like, again, your oath is to defend the Constitution and the people of the United States, right? And it's just frustrating. I remember having, when I was in the military, having conversations about the Constitution, and basic literacy about the Constitution was few and far between, to be perfectly honest, with some of the people there. Some of them knew it very well. Some of them knew it way better than I did. But still, it's like, it's just wildly frustrating.
And I was never released from that oath. To this day, I still feel like I'm obligated to live up to my promise to the American people and to this country. I know that they have had some rough times and had to make some hard decisions so that they could still be here. And our old people, we have a lot to thank. They made a lot of decisions in that would allow us to survive, to be here in this day. And but there are a lot of things that we still have to overcome, a lot of challenges and that are still down over the horizon and coming this way.
Yeah, and one of those challenges is that the United States it's not an ethno state. It's a propositional state, right? It's the United States is founded upon a creed, and if people don't believe in the creed, then again there is no nation. Because, again, it is the belief in that creed that created the nation in the first place, right? So the spell that makes the United States work only works insofar as the people of the United States actually believe in, again, the magic of the United States in the first place. And we did allow, again, Marxists to invade and co-opt our entire education system to propagandize our own children against what we believe, right? And we all the parents were asleep at the wheel about this, right? And so, yeah, I mean, sure, we do have the elders to thank for all the for the good things that they left us. We also have the elders to thank for all the negligence that they left us with as well. It is rather infuriating, and I think I have an episode about boomers in particular that I forgot to record, and I'm reminded to record now. Patriot Gestalt, hello there. Yep. Let's see. Play Astronomical says you need to take an oath to become a citizen. It frustrates me how much people do not take that exactly, right? You need to make an actual commitment, right? You need to make an actual. You need to take an oath, which back in the day used to mean something, right? But nowadays, people just believe words or vacuous pieces of, again, phonology. They don't believe it actually means anything because of that whole postmodern subversion. And yeah, you're absolutely right about that, Play. You do need to take an oath to become a citizen, just like you need to take an oath to join the military. And yeah, oftentimes people just don't pay attention to it.
But it's important for us to remember that which means that if it's to be, it's up to me. That is a very sacred teaching of our Dene. And it deals with the idea of our making choices. And we have always to understand that there are two types of choices we can make, right or wrong, left or right. But it is We've had 250 years to review these things and to learn about them and to learn it in an honest way. If we have a question, we have lots of people we can ask. And I know that sometimes we may not approve of a lot of things that we seem to see going on. But it is always ours, our responsibility, our individual responsibility. There's no way that we can blame anybody. It is our choice. Are we going to be Americans? Are we going to be Adene? It is always our choice. And so it is that we'll be celebrating here the idea of liberty, freedom, and living in the home of the brave. It takes a lot of courage to do the things that we need to do, and it has been the example set for us all the way back from the very beginning.
I will say about like the making choices thing. Hold on. Kionano says you learn about that in middle school. When most kids learn nothing in school. Yeah, exactly. Right. Again, everyone was asleep at the wheel for the education system, and again, this is the logical consequences of that. But about the making correct choices, right? Even the founders in their wisdom actually understood that they didn't actually know all the answers, and they also knew that some of the things that they were doing were compromises with evil that would have to be undone over time, right? You can read the works of like Frederick Douglass, right? Talk about the Constitution as an anti-slavery document. And yeah, because there actually is, like, a lot of the founders did not like slavery, obviously, right? So they left in little nudges within the text itself and little mechanisms to undo the practice in future times because they couldn't do it at that time, right? And yes, that self-correcting mechanism, specifically in the ability to amend the Constitution, is still particularly useful. We've actually had a number of proposed U.S. amendments that even made it all the way up to Congress that were shot down that would have actually helped us in a lot of the things that we're currently dealing with right now. For example, right, my favorite one that got shot down was an amendment that basically made it to where any amendment proposed to the United States Constitution would have had to have been a single subject, which would have been clearly outlined in detail in the title proposed to the Congress to ratify, right? That would have meant that, like, it would have been impossible to sneak pork or any of like these nested like bad ideas that you have in these large pieces of legislation in there. And Congress took one look at that and was like, nah, nope, not happening. We're not ratifying this shit. We get too many kickbacks from again, pork in these in the legislative process. Not fucking happening. And there's just so many examples of this. So it's like, it's not like we can't. We've amended the Constitution before. We probably need to do it again real soon about a number of things, but you know, Kianal says it's mostly because it's taught dryly and not engaging at all. Most don't learn until after school and something that interests them. That's for all school subjects. I mean, that's true, but it's also, again, because again, school is more, especially nowadays, more of a demoralization tactic, right? It was originally designed, the school system that we have now was originally designed by the Prussians to make good factory workers and soldiers, right? And to that extent, it actually works just as planned. But yeah, as opposed to like we get to make decisions like, yeah, he's entirely right? This is the libertarian ethic of if you choose not to decide, you have still made a choice, right? This is why I can't stand the whole, like, I just want to grill people, and it took Kershaw way longer than it should have to realize that I just want to grill are the enemy. They are the people who are making this all possible, right? Because the people who want to just grill won't actually stand up for their right to grill, right? They will just like suffer infinite fucking humiliation because they don't have the spine to actually stand up and stand for something. And if you actually have the spine to stand up and do something about it, you're the bad guy because you're causing discontent. Yes, it's the whole joke about, yes, I'm X, but I would never disagree with Y, right? That's literally every I just want to grill person I've ever met in my life, to be perfectly honest. Yes, I just want to grill, and I agree with you on this right issue, but I would never agree with the left if they ever got what they wanted. It's like, God, I can't. Asleep at the wheelers. That's all fucking I wanted to grill people are. But he's entirely right, right? It's like we all get to make daily decisions about who we are as a person, and then we get to make, whenever the time comes, decisions about who we're going to be in the culture, right? Keanu says, I'm not even touching the nonsense of city schools. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. God damn it, Boo Huckley. But, yeah. So it's like that whole thing of like, we get to decide who we are too, right? And he made that point earlier. It's like, am I going to be American? Am I going to be Dene? Dene, by the way, is like what the Navajo call themselves. But yeah, that's entirely the thing, right? Am I going to be, for example, I'm going to use myself as an example, right? Am I going to be an American, or am I going to be a Texan, or am I going to be Hispanic, right? Now, I could say all of the above, right? I could say I'm going to be an American, and I'm going to be Hispanic, and I'm going to be a Texan, right? I'm going to have a nested loyalty. Well, ultimately, my loyalty belongs to one of the entities, either Texas or the United States, even though I have a particular cultural identity, and I'm not going to betray my cultural identity, but I'm still going to back Texas and America as the, again, as the, like, rightful nation that I'm a part of, right? And that's a decision you have to make. And a lot of people don't do that, especially after the intersectional idea of like interlocking systems of oppression and interlocking identities of oppression. Yeah, that stuff that was designed to make you no longer an American, no longer a like Texan, but now you're primarily black, or now you're primarily white, or now you're primarily Asian, right? Your shared state and supranational identity like the United States no longer means anything anymore, because those are part of the interlocking system of oppression, and it's your ever more marginalized, closer to atomized identities that become, again, the primary thing, because those are the things you're quote unquote oppressed for, right? So again, being an American in a very real sense is a active decision you actually have to make, right? Is my identity going to be primarily based in that, again, being an American or a Texan, or is it going to be based on my race or my sexuality or my gender, right? Or sex, as it would be, actually, because gender is a fake construct when you're talking about human beings and not grammar classes. Is it going to be any of that stupid shit, or is it going to be in something that actually is like something that can unite and cause harmony, right? And the post-Marxian influence, yeah, they went for ever-increasing atomization, right? They went for, again, creating that perpetual revolution, whereas the conservative in general, right, the class, traditional conservative, or, again, the harmony-minded person is going to be like, nah, nation and state are the ones that are going to be your primary identity, because those are the things that can actually help to create a shared sense of identity to get everyone stabilized and on the same page. Play Astronomical says, part of it, the teachers themselves undermine the importance of these things. When I was in school, many teachers made it their purpose to make sure students felt nothing positive for America. Exactly, right? And that is another thing, is, again, this is why I'd like, again, like we have a lot to thank to our elders for giving us the good things. We have a lot to complain about, though, for leaving us all these bad things, right? Like, it wasn't the Gen Xers who noticed this. It wasn't the Boomers who noticed this. It took until the millennial generation for anyone to figure out that this stuff was going on, apparently. And then it took all the way to the Zoomers for no one to still do anything about it, right? They removed phonics from teaching reading in schools. Right? The expressed purpose of that. Okay, it's not the expressed purpose. It is the functional purpose. But the functional purpose of that is to destroy people's literacy rate, right? To isolate them from their greater culture. But that being said, that's a concept for another video, right? Doctor of Insanity says, I have to fight for the right to be my rightful my rightful ethnic. What a whack job. What? Okay. Boo Huckley says snacks and identity. Fair. Kilnall is like, I'm proud to be an American. Yeah, you should be, right? America has done a lot of bad things, but America's done a lot of good things too, right? It turns out, like, the bad things don't obliterate the good things, right? Let's see. Kilnall says all countries have done bad things, but that doesn't negate their... Exactly, right? Boo Huckley says going cold turkey while hooked on phonics. God damn it. but I swear to God, if you have cousins or like nieces and nephews that are going to school right now, get them hooked on phonics, because again, if the schools aren't going to teach them how to read, you can still help them learn how to read, right? But yeah.
It took courage for whoever set sail to come to this continent. And it takes courage to be able to build a society. It takes courage in that to live up to the things that are right and good. And
yeah, because you have to eat the cost, right? If you're going to be the one to actually go out and sail the sea to find new lands, you're the one who ends up eating the cost if you gamble incorrectly, right? It's the same thing of like you set up a city like Roanoke, right? The whole famous idea, constantly the whole famous lost, city of Roanoke, right? Where it's like, yeah, they ate the cost. They gambled. The gamble didn't pay off. They disappeared, right? It takes courage to be the first frontierman, right? It's going to take courage for the first people to be frontiermen on Mars or Venus or on Ganymede, right? Or on Alpha Centauri. Those are going to be truly brave men too, because again, they're going to eat the cost. There's going to be no one who can come help them when they finally go do that. But it's still a task worth doing, right? And yeah, it also turns out that like you're going to eat the cost by doing the right thing when, again, the Marxists control culture, right? The whole thing with cancel culture that we all remember, right? Again, people losing their jobs over having wrong think, right? You don't think that people really shouldn't be concerned about the fact that they're going to lose their job, right? No, of course they should. Anyway, yeah, of course they should, because again, that's the way that they support themselves. It's the way they support their family. Of course it's going to be a major way of like pressuring someone by, again, threatening their livelihood. But it takes courage to be the one to actually stand up and say, no, absolutely not, to plant your feet and tell the world, no, you're the one who gets to move, right? Anyway, yeah, let's see, OAF Con Queso says, so many want to condemn the U.S., but when asked why they do not leave, they have no educated answer. Yeah, and again, it's that revealed preference versus stated preference, right? It's like, oh, I hate this country. Okay, there's almost 200 others to pick from, right? Which one do you want to go to? And then all of a sudden, they just fucking stammer at it, because it's like they don't really, again, they just want to bitch and moan. They don't actually have any beliefs. JD Republic says you need a core loyalty above all else. Yeah, I mean, that's especially if you're going to live in a society, right? There's going to be a core loyalty above all else. Like, my core loyalty is very specifically to the state of Texas, right? But that being said, I also understand that, like, the Texians and the Tejanos, right? The people who actually fought the Mexican-American War, fought that war so they could be American, right? Now, my thing is, like, again, if Texas has to leave the United States, I don't want that to happen. Let's be perfectly clear about that, right? I'd rather save the country. But if push came to shove, secession is on the table for me. I would prefer divisionism first, because Texas did join the State of the Union with the express promise that it could break itself apart into 5 states without the consent of Congress, which Congress, I can guarantee you, would never like actually abide by. But again, it does potentially give a bargaining chip prior to secession. But if worst came to worst of it, like, again, I'm not opposed to it, right? I'd rather Texas secede than be part of a United States if it falls to communism, for example, right? But I'd also rather we all like fight like hell to make sure that doesn't happen in the first place, right? So, yeah, but you know, that's just a Texan disposition to me, right? Let's see. Teachers are actively discouraging sounding out words. It's stupid, but like you said, they are deliberately handicapping children. Oh, yeah, no, they're absolutely doing this. And in fact, actually, if you ever get to read some of the foundational texts when it comes to like the rejection of phonics, the idea is that writing is intrinsic in human nature. It's like, no, it's not. Absolutely no, it's fucking not. Only a few times in the history of man has writing ever actually been invented, right? Like, the Sumerians invented it around the same time that, like, the fucking Egyptians invented it, and they did so with very different means. The Chinese invented writing of their own, right? So that's 3 different occasions. The Indians invented their own writing system with the Harappan civilization, so that's 4 times, most of which were around the same time anyway, right? So 3 of those 4 basically happened at the same time. Then you had, like, the invention of writing in Mesoamerica, and that's about it. That's it. Those are the only times writing seems to have ever actually been invented, more or less from scratch, to be perfectly honest, right? 5 times in the almost 2 million years of human beings being on Earth. Because I'm going to be perfectly honest, when I say human beings, I'm including Homo erectus in there, because I don't think that there's a good argument for having Homo erectus be a different species than anatomically modern humans, right? I just don't buy the argument. Conventional evolution. I mean, right? Convergent evolution. Yeah, basically, yeah. It's also entirely possible that, like, again, just because, like, these places were in trade with each other, that maybe it only developed, like, again, maybe 3 times, right? It may have been that, like, again, one of these ancient civilizations developed writing, and then more or less the other 2 civilizations developed it in response to figuring out you could put words onto, again, clay or papyrus, or you carved into, wood, or, so it's entirely possible it only actually developed maybe 3 times, but we can't know because of how close the Harappan, cuneiform and Egyptian systems developed in relation to each other, right? So it is absolutely not intuitive. In fact, when the Amerindians were exposed to writing, it took over a decade for Sequoyah, who is the man who invented the Cherokee syllabary, to invent a writing system for the Cherokee, because he realized how important it was that they could write down their story, to write down their language, right? And it still took the man over, like, I think it was like more than 10 years to devise something that could actually work for the Cherokee people. And looking at the Cherokee syllabary, like, as an outsider just looking at it, it's not that complicated of a system, to be perfectly honest. It's actually pretty easy to understand, to get a hand of the Cherokee syllabary. But that's from someone from a literate culture looking at another literate culture, newly literate culture's writing system, right? As someone, if you were trying to invent writing from the ground up with no basis beforehand, right, it would be way fucking harder. That's why, like, again, almost every writing system that actually starts from scratch starts as a logographic system, right? A system of pictures that is, eventually corresponds to spoken words. And there's a lot of interesting things about, like, ancient languages. Like, determinatives are, like, my favorite factoid to talk about when it comes to, like, Egyptian and Sumerian writing, but that's neither here nor there. I'll explain that in a later day. But Kionello says, even then, only the rich knew how to read and write, and was invented, and it was invented for money counting. That's true, except for it wasn't even the rich. Just because you were rich didn't mean you knew how to write. For a large part of history, there were many places where kings couldn't actually read, because it was the job of the scribe to read and write. So it was more of a role thing. Kevin Eric Snell says, so many cultures needed their own Saint Cyril. Yeah, I mean, again, it's where we get the word Cyrillic from, right? It's because the church invented the writing system for Old Church Slavonic, which then became adapted into Cyrillic over time, right? And we got that from, the Greek alphabet. And then Gothic, right, was invented by the church as well, right, for the Gothic peoples. And it combined runes, Greek, and, like, the Latin characters. And then you have, like, if you're talking about, like, for, again, the American tribes, right, you had the Australian Aboriginal syllabics, right? The thing that you use in, like, Inuktitut and, what was the other one? Like, Blackfoot and Cree. That was invented by, if I remember correctly, a Methodist missionary, for the express purpose that the people that he was missioning to could write their own stories down, pass on, reliably pass down traditions from, to the future, but also to write the Bible, right? So it's like, again, Play Astronomical says, let's see, how far would your loyalty go? Say Texas has some California level shifts, and you have to remain mostly the same. You find yourself in a Texas you cannot recognize. Would your loyalty shift? That's actually a really good question, and that's a question that very well could be the case if we don't get the immigration issue solved, because one of the main points of, again, allowing the porous border is to eventually have Texas flip to a purple and then a blue state. So you actually raise a really good point. Now, my thing is, again, my my family line goes all the way back to the foundation of Texas, right? I'm actually descended from people who like fought at the Battle of the Alamo. So, yeah, and not the Texians, the actual Tejanos, right? Some of my ancestors are some of the few recorded, from the Spanish-speaking side on the Alamo side. But, I digress. So I would rather fight like hell to try to save Texas. But, there is that point where you have to realize that maybe the project of saving a particular project is not actually that possible. So hypothetically speaking, right, if Texas were to fall to communism and then America were to decide to be like actually a livable country, I might have to defect to the United States. It's just pragmatically speaking, sometimes it's not worth dying for an ideal, right? Playastromical says, because opinions vary. Those in California who are trying to birth the state of Jefferson, etc., come to mind. Yeah, that's not happening, but I get what you're saying. Kionella says, wasn't Latin before Greek? No. Okay, so the Greeks developed writing on their own. Okay, and they developed it from the. Okay, so the way that works is the Egyptians develop writing, okay? And then over time, the peasants do learn that certain letters, certain symbols correspond to certain sounds, right? And so they, instead of using it as like an image system, they use it as a sound system. That eventually gets simplified, and we get Phoenician from that, the Phoenician script. The Phoenician script is also where we eventually get the like modern Hebrew alphabet, but when the Phoenicians, because they were seafaring people, made contact with the Greeks again re-encountered writing. They actually did have writing before that, the Mycenaeans, but during the Dark Age of the Greek Dark Age, everyone actually legitimately forgot how to read. We still can't read certain Greek Mycenaean writings. But they saw the general sound correspondences, and they modified the Phoenician writing to their own purposes. That eventually gets transmitted over to the Italian peninsula, to the Etruscans, and eventually becomes the Latin characters. So the Greeks do precede the Latins in terms of like illiterate culture twice over, actually, because they had their own writing system and then they forgot it, and then they borrowed a writing system and adapted it from the Phoenicians. Texas fall to communism. Laugh. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, just someone 1038. I'm giving a wildly absurd hypothetical. Is that going to happen? No. But like in theory, if that were to happen, it's like, yeah, I could see myself, if that was like completely a lost cause, defecting from Texas and going to the United States, right? In that situation.
It is cowardly, sad, and that to push all of this that has happened and has been done aside and say, let's find different something. There is no other different. There's only one liberty. There's only one freedom. There is only one place to have that, and that's here in the United States of America. We'll be celebrating, and I will celebrate. I will salute the flag. One thing that we've done.
I mean, again, entirely based, right? His entire point here is that, like, this is my country. My people have been here since time immemorial, right? But at the same time, he's like, these are my people as well, right? He's not just talking about the Dene. He's talked about this beforehand, and he even mentioned this in the video, right? But that, like, he is an American, right? That's why he joined the U.S. military, is because he is an American. And as a result, he has an obligation, in some sense, right? To a role to his fellow American. And yeah, he's absolutely right about that, right? It's like, now I'm of the opinion that the tree of liberty needs to occasionally be watered with the blood of tyrants, right? That being said, that is more of a jurisprudential question, because I think the United Kingdom might very well be at that moment of the tree of liberty may need some watering, but. Yeah, that's probably why they didn't release a lot of the Epstein files. Partly because, again, there's probably not a very clear delineation who's actually a client and who's just some random fucking name on some of these files. But that being said, again, if they ever released the names of the people on those, that were actually his clients, it might be a tree watering situation then, eh? Let's see. Kevin Eric Snell says, serves him right. The sea peoples ruining everybody's lives in the Bronze Age. They were probably closer to the Greeks than the Phoenicians, right? Kielnella says, oh, wait, you're talking about the Dark Age. Yeah, you're right. Kielnella says, language evolution is more crazy than humans. Yeah. Kuro says, if it's not a muscle mommy, Kuro, don't want none. Wait, what are we talking? God damn it, Kuro.
I kind of forget is there's an American culture. Probably some people might associate it with the American dream, but always it is that there is a culture there. But also over here among our Diné, there is a culture. There is a way to take the best from the Diné culture and the American culture and take the good from both of them, because that's the way it is. There's some cultural aspects that are good over here and some good cultural aspects that are good over here. But there's also bad cultural ways and bad cultural ways in both. And so you have to be very careful on selecting and choosing the type of portion of the culture that you can use in your life to do the good things you want to do for yourself so you can have joy, happiness, confidence, and peace.
Yeah, he has a point there. That, like, the thing that... So this is one of the things that conservatives sometimes struggle with, right? Is that... and it depends on what kind of conservative. Because some conservatives understand this and other conservatives do not. So it depends on where in the spectrum conservatives you are, right? But you can't just be hardline conservative, but you also can't be hardline novelist either. And by novelist, I mean, like, novelty worship. And the reason why is very simple. Because newness for its own sake is completely meaningless, right? Just because something is new doesn't mean it's any good. And just because something has been done since time immemorial does not necessarily mean it's the right way to do things, right? Like, let's be fair, drinking cow piss is, a practice from time immemorial for some cultures. And to be perfectly honest, it's probably not a practice you need to keep up with, right? I'm just putting that out there, right? For generations, certain cultures have been wiping their ass with their left hand or a stone. We have better ways of doing that now. Just saying, we have better ways of doing that now, right? Sometimes novelty is good, but sometimes, again, the traditions since time immemorial do solve problems that have been problems since time immemorial and would actually be a problem again if you let go of that tradition. And sometimes it turns out that some people have better solutions to those problems than you may have yourself, right? So it turns out that the cultures themselves are subject to evolution. That is actually just the nature of cultural development itself, right? And yeah, being able to adapt and improve yourself over time through cultural adaptation is actually really important to the long-term survival of a people. Because let's be fair, if you were to check the culture of, for example, the Old English, right, and compare it to the culture of the Victorian, they're going to be very fucking different, right? It's the same. It's ultimately speaking, more or less the same people, right? And let's ignore the Normans. But anyway, ignoring the Normans, right? It's more or less the same people. There's a continuity from point A to point B that is real, but the cultures would be in many respects completely unrecognizable. And that's not to say that being new is better or being old is better, right? The fact of the matter is the better is that which better conforms to reality as it is, right? And which better concretizes the happiness of man, because that's ultimately what we're looking for, right? It's like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And by happiness, they mean eudaimonia specifically. They don't just mean vacuous happiness. They mean goodness of spirit. That's what eudaimonia means. That's what the whole purpose of the American project is. That's what the purpose of liberty is, those things. Anyway, oh god, hold on, I got a little to catch up with. I just talked about that. Yeah, so just someone 1038, I just talked about that. I said that divisionism, which is what you're referring to, right? The idea that, like, Texas can break itself apart without consent of Congress into, like, 5... It's actually 5 states, not 4. But, yeah, I think that that's a better, first thing than secession. Because I don't want to secede from the Union. But also, if it would be better to save the United States to break Texas into 5 separate states, theoretically possible, I would be totally for that. And it is something that was a part of the promise in the joint resolution to annex Texas in the first place, right? And Congress never abrogated that. So it is, in theory, something we could do. Pragmatically speaking, Congress would go tell us to go fuck ourselves, but then that gives us an argument for saying, see, they don't, they don't abide by their by their own principles, so we're just going to leave. In which case, we could use that as a leveraging tool for that as well. So, but yes, you are correct. We actually do have that. It's not in our Constitution. It's actually in the joint resolution that accepted Texas in the Union in the first place. Texas used to own Colorado, a tiny part of Wyoming. That is the craziest part of American history I've read. Fair. Eric Snell says, I know he's saying Dene like Navajo, but I keep hearing Denis like in the Myst video game. I can't help you there. Let's see. Kura says, you can take the good from both cultures, but integration is far more an important thing to first happen before they can truly happen. I mean, yeah, obviously, right? There is going to be a core substrate that cannot change for a culture, right? We're talking about like ultimately accidental, components, not the essential components. Because if you change the essence of a thing, well, the thing dies, right? And what is the essential component of the United States, right? Well, the essential core creed of the United States is encoded in the Declaration of Independence. It is literally the founding document of the United States as a culture and people, right? It gives us the very basis by which we had the authority to leave the British Empire. So that part would be like non-negotiable, right? Because if it's not that, breeds tribalism, which is not good. That's a divide. Yeah. JD Republic says the Normans ruined England. Stupid French language invasion. Boy, do I have something to tell you. There's a project called English to purge English of all of its French influence, right? Although it is funny that some French words entered English twice under different pronunciations, and that there's a lot of interesting things about that.
I think another thing that we forget is that Native people understood liberty. It is so very important to allow people to speak their mind. It is so very important for people to believe what they want to believe. And it's so very important to pursue the things that you think will bring you joy and happiness, confidence, and peace, and to do it in the way that you understand it. And I think that Native people understood that. And so they appreciated and expressed gratitude for the environment that was given to them by the holy people, by the Great Spirit. And it is that we have it. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. And it is the only home that we have. I have a lot of faith in this country and its people. We the people. I love this country because in it is a Navajo nation, and I love my people.
And again, yeah, it's an old Catholic idea of chivalry, right? Hello, Captain Rudy. It's a old idea in Catholic chivalry codes, right? The idea that you are actually obliged to be a patriot. That doesn't mean you gotta, again, agree with everything your country does, but you do have to love your country and you have to love your people, right? And by love country and people means, like, again, act in the best interest of the country and the people, right? Don't just, like, if there's something to vote on, for example, that would benefit you but screw over everyone else, it is an ethical obligation for you to not do that, right? Then you don't even have to be an altruist to understand this. You can be entirely selfish and understand this, right? The idea that, again, I won't ask you to live for my sake, but at the same time, I will not stand to be asked to live for your sake either, right? So, even from like a purely selfish, ethic, you could still uncover this particular idea. Kuro says, remove French impressions on the English language. Hell yeah, shouldn't be hard for it to surrender. Damn. But Old English was a beautiful language. I'm not a big fan of Romance languages, but I was trying to be silly there. That's fair. All right. Yeah, there's a... Oh god, there's a lot of them.
Hey, thanks for watching our videos. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss one of our uploads. Also, head over to our website, NavajoTraditionalTeachings.com. Sign up for our email list. Okay.
Agreed. So if you like what you just saw, I would suggest subscribing to Navajo Traditional Teachings. I listen to them quite frequently. I enjoy listening to the gentlemen, actually just talk about history, about, again, the Navajo culture. And I didn't really have much to add in this particular video. In the last video, I had a lot more to add, right? But it had a lot to do with things that I thought needed much more expanding upon. But yeah, this was more or less straightforward, and I couldn't find any place to disagree, and there wasn't really a lot of things I could add to it because it was just like simple, straight to the point, completely correct. So, oh yeah, I watch him too. All right, so that'll be it for this episode, and hopefully that was transformative enough, right? Because I don't want to be just taking content and not like adding something actually useful for it. Hold on. Just someone 1038 says people generally believe in a hierarchy of importance: self, family, tribe, so forth. I wonder if the adaptability of the American government as an idea challenges religion for the top spot. So I'm not entirely sure. It would depend on how you define a religion. I would, for example, define Marxism as a religion, for example. Especially as patriotism is a big deal in America. Yeah, but in the case of like the hierarchy of ideals thing, most people in the United States who are like religious, if you really, really push them, they'll pick their religion over their country. And that's not just America. That's a lot of people. A lot of people will pick their religion over their country, right? Because the religion thing kind of is that higher value, like of a hierarchy of importance, because you're talking about the most fundamental things. And ultimately, a nation and a country would be a derivative thing, not a fundamental thing. But, yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to end the actual episode, right? Okay, so there we go. There was that. Yeah, there's that, right? It is actually not okay to hate the country, and it is good to love it. All right. So moving on to the next video, right? I was told there was a bit of an emotional moment in a leaflet. Oh, well, I should probably start recording, actually. Son of a bitch. Okay, hold on. All right. Okay, so on to this video. I was told by a commenter in a previous video that Leaflet had a bit of a emotional moment in a previous stream, and I think this is the clip of that emotional moment. This is not going to be a very long video. This is going to be reacting to a 2-minute clip, right? So, oh yeah, you can see the DMCA queen thing. I did watch that video with Mama Oko, and yeah, she's cruising for a social bruising. But anyway, language. What did I say? Anyway, so let us see what this is about. Because I mean, obviously from the title, I'm pretty sure Julio put this as the title. But let's see how this goes.
This is True Wealth, my son's favorite playthrough ever. Okay, what is this?
Charmeleon is evolving. You guys ready for this? We can, dude. Congratulations. Your Charmeleon evolved into Charizard. Isn't that
That's ridiculously wholesome.
the coolest thing ever, bud? And gosh, bro, we got a Charizard, dude. That's your first ever Charizard.
No, I'm gonna show Mom
You're gonna show mommy
and all my friends.
and all of your friends.
I'm gonna talk Colin and me and Rachel is sour.
You're gonna tell your two buddies. You're gonna tell your grandma and your two aunts.
What are the odds? This is just gonna add to the wholesomeness, right? Well, what are the odds that? Okay, so I do have the clip, eh? Oh, son of a bitch! I'm covering Leaflet. Okay, so now that I'm here, right? Well, that's embarrassing. Captain Rudy says, if you want to Lear, Ember, and Leaflet discuss the use of AI during the collab, it was rather insightful. I have that scheduled, I think, for this weekend, because it was like a 40-minute thing, and so it's going to be like a 3-hour commentary for me. My eyes aren't tearing up. My house is infested with onion-cutting ninjas, right? Yeah, I kind of figured this is the one I was looking for. But I was just going to say, what are the odds that this gentleman right here grew up playing Pokemon, and now he gets to share his childhood through childhood video game with his son, right? And so he gets to see his son experience what he probably can't remember himself, which is the first time he ever played these games, right?
Buddy, they're gonna be so excited and so proud of you.
Yeah.
I love you, bud.
Can you go bow with him?
We can, buddy.
Can he use diamond like this?
He can't use fire moves like that.
That's cute.
You right now.
We can. I'm proud of you for choosing Charmander at the beginning.
Aww.
We made it.
We did make it, buddy.
Dude, that is so fucking cute. That was unreal. Psyop, it kind of is. A good psyop. You guys...
What the fuck do you mean a psyop? What makes me want to play Pragmata? I mean, based, right? But what the fuck do you mean psyop? This is literally just like what most people on Earth are like oriented towards. This is not a psyop. Literally, the psyop is making you not want this, right? Kianella says, I'm dying from both the wholesomeness and nostalgia, right?
Ever met like Disney adults? All of those things from your childhood that you loved so much, like
Yep.
Pokemon, like Disney and things like that. And Disney sucks now, right? But you know, it's like you can experience them again if you have a kid. You get to do
Based
that again
and
in like
true.
the most healthy way possible. And it just seems so base to me, you know? Unless your kid hates it. Well, good thing they're allowing abortion past the point of birth. Am I right?
Oh, god damn it.
That's fucking terrible.
Mumble.
Okay, so that is not the video I was looking for, to be perfectly honest. Which is weird, because I was looking for the one where Leaflet was having a bit of an emotional moment. Hold on. So that was apparently not it. Was it this one? Let me check this one. Let's see. Okay, well, I guess we're doing something else here. There's no reason for me to break this apart because, again, it was such a small video. I might as well fucking go through this one, right? All right, so let's see what this is. Let's see, liberal hive mind literally made me feel ill. How long ago was this? Oh, this is a while ago. We're getting some mood whiplash here, boys. Right? We're going from wholesomeness to literally made him feel ill.
Feel ill. A letter to my unborn child. Abortion scheduled in 3 days.
What an utter cunt.
My dearest little one, you were my...
Okay, I'm getting DMCA'd because of that fucking music. The title says Mother's Day. Yes, I am aware of this, right? Let's see. Do them all? Yeah, nah. We're not watching the whole thing. She just reached the conclusion it's going to take a psyop to heal our collective minds after a century of brain poison. No. I don't think it's going to take a psyop, but I do think that, again, media, because it's not a psyop to remind people of that, you know, things can actually be good, right? All I'm saying is Darling and the Franks did a good job of unpsyoping me. I have a whole hour-long essay on that.
Jeez, you're my miracle.
That's a far more measured response than what I gave. I went straight for what a cunt, right? Because that's exactly what this is. What do you mean? Oh my god! Potential mothers write letters to their children after they are about to kill. That they're about to kill. There's no potential here. These are the. Oh my god! It's gonna take the market not being crippling before our birth rate goes back up. No, it's not. It's gonna take people realizing that you don't actually need a lot of money to raise a kid, because a lot of the things you think you need to raise a kid are actually things that you're being vain about, to be perfectly honest. Not frugal. So I have a little bit of a harsh opinion about this, because it's like, no, there's nothing wrong with growing up poor. It's just point of fact. Let's see. Kevin says, yeah, reverse psyop will have the major boost of having nature on its side, right? Becoming a parent increases your weaknesses to family content. Yes. Mass murderers need to feel shame. I would agree. I mean, functionally, I'm pro-life because I understand that that's the only way to get anything done. But pragmatically speaking, I'm actually not pragmatically, but like actually speaking, I'm an abolitionist. So, yeah, I would agree. I have some pretty allegedly harsh opinions about this subject matter. Captain Rudy says, I have to work overtime just to be able to pay for my own shit. I mean, that's true. That's true. But at the same time, a lot of the stuff that, like, I found out that, like, some of the stuff that happens, a lot of people finding this out actually with the Caleb Hammer stuff. It's like, yes, it turns out a lot of what's going on is literally our own problems because we pay for shit we don't need. But that's, but then again, you could also live in California or New York, in which case, oh my god, sorry about that. You actually are screwed in that case, right? that city really does hate both the rich and the poor, right? Not city, but those states.
At 34, after years of doctors telling me I could never conceive naturally, you came anyway. These few short weeks have been filled with wonder. I kept touching my belly, imagining your tiny face, and dreaming of naming you Nasima Milla. Nasima for the gentle breeze after my late cousin, Milla for my gracious and dear. I wish...
What a tonal whiplash from the last fucking... Fun fact, New York City has their own income tax. Can we just, like, push New York into the sea? Right? JD Republic says, I think murderers need to feel something, but shame is the least of them. That's my opinion. I would agree. This is wildly upsetting.
More than anything that I could keep you and give you the loving home you deserve. But right now, with your father's stress and financial unreadiness, our recent struggles and heavy shame...
This is the psyop. This is the actual psyop. The psyop that just because you don't have the money means you can't start a family. As if at any point in human history you needed money to actually start a family. And that, like, again, starting a family with basically nothing wasn't the norm of human history. That's the actual psyop. That's the actual complete disconnected from, like, all... Nope, that was an accident. The disconnect from, like, all human, like, history and nature.
This would bring in my culture. It doesn't feel possible. I'm choosing what I believe is the best for both of us in this moment, even though my heart aches with the wish that things were different.
I'm choosing what's best for both of us. Yes, I'm gonna kill you because I believe it's best for you. Fuck off. Right. I can't stand these people. Oh my god, this is actually infuriating. If you genuinely think that, like, killing someone is in their best interest, you need to be put in a box.
Please know this comes from deep care and love, not from any lack of wanting you. I will carry the tenderness I feel for Nasima Milla with me, and one day, when life feels steadier, I hope to welcome another child and pour all this love into them. Thank you for this.
You're literally replaceable. You're literally replaceable. Oh my god. I wish I have another child who I could give all the love I have for you to them. Oh my god. Literally, human life is like an interchangeable unit. I'm actually so upset. Holy shit.
This beautiful, unexpected dream. You will always have a soft, hopeful place in my... With all my love, your mother. That's so dark. Stupidity at its finest. I don't even believe this is a real letter. Dude, the thing is like, I want to believe that, but people are really this stupid. Just a clump of cells, am I right? This is some sick shit for two reasons. Why write a letter to something that you don't believe is human? Second, this is even worse. You do believe it's human, you can't afford to raise it, so you kill it. Even if born, God helped that kid when it got expensive. Holy fuck. This is so dark. People are nasty.
Yeah, my opinion on this is actually pretty easy to articulate, but so that I don't have to, again, use my folders to do this, I've literally tweeted it out, so here we go. This is effectively my opinion on this entire situation. It always comes off as funny to me that one of the main arguments for the pro-abort crowd is that women will get unsafe abortions, as if I even care slightly about the safety of baby murderers. Where is the fucking lie? Right? Where is the lie? Where is the action? Wow, some people see murder as romantic. Yes, that is true. It does seem like rage bait, but the thing is like, this is a thing that also does happen, right? So I can't exactly rule it out, even though like this is like actually infuriating and reasonably rage-inducing, right? Captain Rudy says, fuck the haters, fuck the shammers. That's my kid. I'm taking care of it and raising it by hell or high water. Exactly, right? It's like, I may be mean, but I hope it may be mean, but I hope this woman never has another kid. Kill Nala. That would be a just thing to happen if that was the case, right? It would be a tragic thing for them, but it would be the absolute just thing, right? But yeah, this is kind of my opinion on this whole situation right here. Absolutely disgusting and vile behavior. That is not what I expected. So alright, I don't even think I'm gonna actually like clip that episode. I think I'm just gonna move straight into this next one, because it's just like a random 3-for-1 special at this point, right? Okay, so I have no idea. I haven't seen this one either. It's just, I saw the title and I was like, damn, what the hell's going on here? Let me do that first. JD Republic says, people can start with getting rid of expensive cell phone plans. Yep. Cheap prepay phones work for work and emergencies. We have a lot of bills that are stuff we don't need. That is entirely true, right? Okay. So, Sotaway here is going to talk about France isn't as safe as people think. I never thought France was safe at all, to be perfectly honest. I always thought France was a den of thieves and robbers, to be perfectly honest. Right? Not to mention, again, with some of the immigration stuff that's happening right now with, again, migrants from places that don't believe theft is actually wrong so long as you don't get caught by it, right? Caught with it. But let's see what she's actually got to say here.
People carry guns there like it's in America. Those places in France, I would tell you, you should not go there, ever. Gare du Nord in Paris? No.
Okay, Gare du Nord in Paris.
No, the north part of Paris, no. You're in great danger if you're here. If you got lost, cross your fingers. Run. But then I'm like, oh, like this part of Paris?
Okay. Miss Sotaway, you can't just tell us that it's dangerous. France isn't safe because they surrendered everyone, even the immigrants. You're not wrong. But, Miss Sotaway, you can't just say this. You have to tell us why these things are not safe, right? Like, if I were to tell you not to go down that alley, like I could tell you, like, oh yeah, that's a gangland over there. You don't want to go over there. They got the fucking Latins and like the Bloods and the Crips have been like fighting each other for decades over there, right? That's like, you have to. I'm pretty sure it's like some kind of Tyler Oliveira episode on France specifically, right? Like, I saw the one where he went to Spain and it's like, pickpocket, right? And someone fucking pulled a knife on him at one point, and I think the whole thing. So yeah, I mean, if that's what you're talking about, yeah, sure, fair enough. But it's like, you're just gonna tell us, just don't go over there. He's unsafe. It's like, yes, granted, that's why you're telling us not to go there. But could you tell us why it's unsafe? Are there pickpockets there? And am I gonna get beaten by gypsies because, like, I don't know, I'm wearing the wrong watch or something? Like, what's going on here? I brought the gypsy thing up because that was in the Tyler Oliveira Spanish thing, right? Something stereotypes for a reason. Something not everyone, right? Why is shelter expensive and jobs hard to find? Why is meat getting expensive? Yeah. It's almost as if all these things are related to each other, right? Adultery is so commonplace in France that DNA testing is illegal for anyone to get. You need either a court order or medical reason. That is true. She might get arrested if she said the truth. That's fair. Don't go to North Paris, right? There are Muslim grooming gangs there. Fuck. Europe is really speed running bad things coming about. See, the thing is I've said this before, but I legitimately think that the left wants there to be a Hitler 2.0. And the reason why I think this is because it actually satisfies the hero fantasy, right? Like, honestly, obviously they call you a Nazi because, not because you are a Nazi, but very specifically they call you a Nazi because they understand it's a spell that actually damages your reputation and can potentially get you to back the fuck off, right? And comply to what it is that must be true, right? God damn it. You heard gypsy and you had to type that, didn't you? Anyway, so... but they do that because, again, it's linguistic manipulation. It's a spell. It, again, changes your status and reputation. It makes people not listen to you, and it can potentially get you to kowtow to what they want because, like, oh, no, I'm not a Nazi. A lot of people immediately cave to and capitulate instead of saying, fuck you, no, I'm not. And I'm still going to say this, right? But... the reason I think the left some of the people on the left really do want a Hitler 2.0 is because it also justifies their mistreatment of you. Because if there is a Hitler 2.0 that actually arises, it will be in response to their narrative control. Because one of the things, and I hate that the right does this, but the right will let the left tell them what exactly it is that their opposite is, right? First of all, the right expects the left to lie, except when it is that the left is like, oh yeah, we're actually not this thing. This thing is the opposite of what we are, right? So it's like when we say, oh yeah, the opposite of us is a fascist or a Nazi, even though literally fascism and Nazism are daughter religions to Marxism. But that's gives for another point where I might be reading some of the texts from fucking Rudolph Jung or from like Giovanni Gentile to prove my point. The thing is like, again, like, oh yeah, these are actually our opposites. No, the reason they're saying that is because they know that the majority of people on the right are, and I'm going to be perfectly blunt here, but I'm going to be honest, too dumb to realize that the people that lie about like who you are willing to lie about what they are. Why would you believe any of these people? Why would you believe when these people are willing to lie about what you are? Why would you believe them when they tell you who they are? Right? They know this. So like they know that the vast majority of the people on the right are too dumb to realize this. And then it's like, oh yeah, we're going to say that we're against the Nazis. That way, hopefully, when we're so odious that you want to be exactly the opposite of what we are, we've already controlled the narrative in your head to make you into what we want you to be so that we can justify enacting violence on you. God, I hate that. I've seen this happen with so many people who are like, oh yeah, actually these things are kind of based. No, they're not. They're being framed as the dialectical opposite so that retards will actually bite the bullet and give them exactly what they want. But anyway, sorry. I had to crash out about this whole like letting Marxists control the fucking debate, not debate, but like the conversational frame, because this gets me every fucking time. Must be fair. God damn. It's not to get you to comply. They call you a Nazi to make you a legitimate target for an all. Yeah, there's you say that as if there's not more than one reason. Let's be clear. There are a lot of people who comply as soon as they get called this. That is something that they're aware of. Yes, there are people that they want to see hurt. Yes, that is a reason they do it. These people are not dumb. These people understand that words are magic and that magic can be used for multiple effects. These are both things that happen. I have seen both happen, right? Just because, again, you capitulate doesn't necessarily mean that they don't want to see you die either. Like, these are not mutually exclusive things, especially when we're talking about people who believe that contradiction is reality. So, People on both sides are dumb. It's why I don't align myself with one side or the other. Well, yeah, even the left-right dichotomy is just a magical spook, to be perfectly honest, right? Oh yeah, reality is complex, but politics is a unidimensional thing. The fuck are you talking about, right? No, you can have differences of opinions on civil and economic issues, right? So it's like, that's why you had the Nolan chart back in the day that the libertarians developed, right? And then other people developed more sophisticated but more accurate ways of mapping people's like political schemes other than just left, right, up and down, right? That's why you make yourself bulletproof to stuff like that. Look at Ember Paradox. Many have tried to cancel her, none have succeeded. That is true, but it also still doesn't make her immune to the whole, well, when we finally do destroy her on the left side, right? When they finally do destroy her, then, you know, they can, again, laud that as if they did something right. Or if she were to, for example, abide by what it is that they are calling her, that, again, she didn't play right into their trap. Granted, she's smart enough not to let them define their, you know, again, not to let them define the oppositional side. Because she probably understands that these people are lying to her when they tell her what they are not, right? But there's a lot of people out there who just don't seem to understand. You can't trust these people when they tell you what they are not, because they lied to you about what they are in the first place. They will lie to you about what they are not just to get an advantage over you.
That's fine. It's so chill, dude. You should come. You know, like, it's fine. Marseille, yeah, Marseille is pretty bad. You don't want to go to Marseille. People carry guns there like it's...
Okay, see, this is a good example, right? This is exactly what they fucking, like, they should have been doing for the Northern Paris thing, right? They tell you exactly why it is. They carry guns there. Like, it's fucking America. Except it's not like it's fucking America, because the only place where you have to be worried when you're carrying guns, or people are carrying guns, are places that you're not allowed to carry guns in the first place, right? And I'm pretty sure, I'm gonna have to check this out, but I don't think France really allows guns, do they? So if people are carrying guns in France, it's automatically you're dealing with a criminal element. Captain, hold on. Patriotic Gestalt said, you should be on side scrollers. You're an interesting guy. I mean, if they invited me on, I'd totally, you know, agree to go on it. I don't have any like inclination against it. It's not going to happen. Pragmatically speaking, it's just not going to happen for a while, if at all. Right? I'm also a really small channel with not a lot of content on it. Let's be fair, right? But yeah, if I was ever invited on side scrollers, I'd pick that up in a heartbeat. I'm like, yeah, sure, why not, right? Let's see. Captain Rudy said she saw what happened to Emaru during the ice debacle, and she was like, nope, not me. Sometimes we do have to learn from other people's mistakes. That is an absolute fair thing to do. She might have known this before then. I don't know. I don't keep up that much with Ember Paradox, but, you know, she does seem like she has a really good head on her shoulders.
In America. And I'm sure it's like, you know, some place in Marseille that are fine to live in, but I have a lot of friends who live in Paris, and whenever I ask, you know, they're like, oh, don't worry, let's try to avoid to go this place. That's annoying, because sometimes when you're in Paris, you're like, oh, we have to take the train, but you have to make sure that, like, you know, this train specifically do not go in the north. You actually have to plan ahead to make sure, like, you know, you're not going, you know, there by accident. Yes,
this is definitely one of those we don't have to live like this moments, right? Again, I'm pretty sure we could give a decent guess as to the caliber of people that, like, we're dealing with in this situation. And again, if you just put the people who can't tell the difference between reality and fantasy in a box, you don't have to deal with the issues with, like, oh, well, fiction affects reality. No, just put that guy in the box. The guy who said it because he's on the right, and the guy who said it because he's on the left, these people can't understand fiction or reality. In the asylum they go, right? Literally can't tell the difference. Or then you got people who can't fucking behave themselves, right? It's like, yes, this man stabbed someone. Oh, and this person right here opened up a Tylenol bottle to put some fucking cyanide in them. In the box you go, right? Oh my god. If fucking immigrant that, like, again, got here illegally, first of all, in the box until we can get them deported, and then we build a fence around the country, right? There are solutions to these problems. It's just France happens to not really care about this. It's gonna be really funny if like the left in France pushes them to the point where they just reestablish the monarch, because there is a legitimate theoretical heir to the French monarchy. Anyway, but that's a conversation for another time. I actually was interested in seeing, it's like, in theory, which monarchies could actually be reestablished based on like people who actually have a legitimate claim to some like royal house. And it's like, oh, there's actually a lot more than I thought there were, right?
Eiffel Tower is all right. I would not tell you, oh, go and visit the Eiffel Tower. I would tell you, oh, yeah, go instead, like, on a boat that, goes on La Seine, and have a nice, fine restaurant there if you can afford it.
Honestly, kind of based, not gonna lie. Let's see. Kevin Snell says, Banana Juju went on, but then again, she got a couple of advantages over you. I mean, that's true. Wait a minute. Hold on. You said couple of advantages. Now I'm curious. Because, like, yeah, sure, she got a number advantage, but the way you said that, I don't think you're talking about numbers here. The Captain Rudy says, Ember Paradox is as base as they come, call me biased. But there's a reason why she's my Oshi, and it's not because she's a sexy redhead anime cat girl. I mean, yeah, she generally has a good head on her shoulders. She doesn't understand art very well, but, that's neither here nor there. But I say that as like a free speech issue, because she went on this whole tirade where she's like, no, that's not acceptable. It was like, no, what you're talking about is evil, but it is still a free speech issue because art is a speech act. Let's see. Very jiggly advantages. Yeah, that's kind of where I thought you were going with that, right? I think. And to be fair, they are jiggly, right? Okay. So I'm thinking, should I cut this one off? Yeah, I'll cut this into like a I won't cut it, but like this will be where I end this particular video. So if you're watching this on YouTube, y'all have fun, and you can see what my next video is going to be, I guess, right? Luz Teaser says, I would say her advantage is just the people she talks to, mainly Leaflet. Okay. Yes. I think there was a joke being made earlier, but I would agree that yes, having Leaflet and like in her corner probably really helps. Oh, excuse me. And I'm not like ragging on anything like that. It's like, I mean, a lot of success really is who you know, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? But it's just point of fact. It's like, again, I would take the opportunity, I would take the offer, but it's just not gonna fucking happen. I'm aware of this. Keen EN appeared there too. He's a small channel. Yes, to be fair, but he also does AI animation. And he also does like proper 5 to 7 hour live streams. Most of my live streams get maybe 3 hours, right? But yeah, fair enough. Maybe I'm wrong. It could be that I could eventually, I'll end up on there sooner than I expect. It's just, I don't expect that to happen for a while. All right, hold on. I'm going to record a video for this one. Alright, hello everyone. So now we are going to react to Short Fat Otaku, aka Dev, now openly supports assassinating Donald Trump and JD Vance. So, yeah. Short Fat Otaku has been on a bit of a spiral for quite a while. He definitely has that TDS real bad. But people have been calling him out for his behavior as well, and he pretends as if he's more principled than he actually is. But, where's that trucker video, god damn it, right? I don't care about anything else. Where's that damn trucker video, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think anytime he makes a statement like this, that everyone should just flood his comment section with trucker video. Just trucker video on its own, right? Captain Rudy says, interesting how Ember publicly defends Leaflet and Celestium, and all of a sudden Leaflet calls Ember her Oshi. She ends up on side scrollers with Leaflet and Celestium, and Leaflet is making an Ember plushie. You're right, it is who you know. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just pragmatically speaking, it's like it's basic cause and effect relationship, right? It's like you need to be able to make use of like the systems actually in play. I can't do that right now. That's fine, right? But you know, that just means that I need to get better relationships, and I need to be able to leverage those relationships better. I don't really like doing that because it seems a little bit manipulative when I try to do that, right? Let's see. It's almost as if being a good human pays off. Yeah, I mean, it does. It does, but I'm personally waiting for someone to stab me in the back. I can guarantee you it's going to happen. I've made a lot of controversial statements and opinions, so I am definitely waiting to get stabbed in the back. It's going to happen. It's probably going to happen for one of the British members of the community, to be perfectly honest. But I am waiting for it to happen. Or either that or like a northeastern American, right? Patriot Gestalt says, sigh. I'll try a $50 super chat to get you there. Might work. I appreciate it. You don't have to, but if you do, I do appreciate it. Let's see. Boo Huckley says, bro, he should adopt a better platform, get a better cause. Possibly. I vouch for you. Thank you, Captain Rudy. I would say your best bet into getting on side scrollers is people super chatting them to get you on. Doesn't seem like they read regular chat. I mean, so Pipkin Pippa. So I love how like we got onto the dev video, and I haven't talked about dev at all for the most part in this video. But I'm going to continue, right? Because this is just funnier. Yeah, Pipkin Pippa talked about this when she was talking about like how she doesn't read anything below Aka super chats for the most part. And it's just because there comes a point where like the actual like the situation becomes like too much to start paying attention to every single chat, even if there's money behind it, right? So there does come a point where you do kind of have to like put like a threshold by which like these are the ones that get my attention guaranteed. The other things may catch my attention, but like these like there's a threshold at which it does actually like necessitate my attention. Because in the case of like Pipkin Pippa, she gets way too many of them to really reliably respond to, right? And in the case of side scrollers, they are trying to have a real conversation with each other, and like. I like stopping to talk to chat, right? So I'll stop the video and I'll talk to chat and I'll yap the fuck on, right? But in the case of side scrollers, if they're trying to have like a real interview or a real conversation with the person right there, it's not the most conductive to constantly pay attention to chat either. So pragmatically, there is a real reason the way they do it. So let's see. Kevin says, you're a long-form creature, maybe nice and long convo with Nux. I would talk to Nux if given the opportunity. It would probably be an interesting conversation. But I have mixed opinions on Nux. I like the guy. I do like the guy. I think he is a bit of a rug puller in case of like the people that come on like not ladder puller, not rug puller, ladder puller. I think he is a bit of a ladder puller, but I do think he genuinely means well. Let's see. Relational networks are natural. It's not manipulative if you form friendships rather than doing it for a goal. I mean, yeah, that's entirely fair. It just might be a minor scrupulosity on my own end. Let's see. Did I tell you about the time Cha-Cha snipe raided Ember and adopted her? That sounds like something she would do. she's really on that warpath to be the mom of the VTubers, eh?
If you think that we are at this point in America, would it be morally justified? I'm just asking, are you being rhetorical, or do you actually believe we are about to go to civil war? Would political assassinations be morally justified at this point?
Do you value your channel?
Okay, that's all I need to know. Okay, carry on.
Well, that speaks volumes, right? You don't have to like Donald Trump, right? But let's be perfectly honest. Donald Trump isn't nearly fucking as bad as Woodrow Wilson was, right? Donald Trump wasn't nearly as bad as FDR was, right? And this guy is out here being like, yes, this is time to John Wilkes Booth, right? It's like, fucking hell, mate. Let's see. Lux Teaser says Dev kind of sucks. I've heard of him for a while now, but I'm mainly a follower of Kirsche, so I'm a bit biased. I do like some of the stuff Nux has in the past made. Some of that stuff still does hold up. And I will probably use them as citations in the future, because if it's actually accurate and true, it's accurate and true, even if the guy who says it is a fucking retard, right? But yeah, he has, Kirsche is the superior, like a political, content creator, to be perfectly honest. Patriot Gestalt says, Geeks plus Gamers read almost all super chats to a fault, but Beardo makes it entertaining. That's fair. She did it on Mother's Day, to which was very fitting. Apparently her chat voted to have Ember adopted. Yeah, that's fair. There was a running joke about how Cha-Cha was looking for a replacement for Fillion. She got that empty nest syndrome, eh?
Hello everyone, Ace here, and
I will say, I did pre-listen to this. I didn't actually pre-watch it, but this was also literally the fucking thumbnail. So I can be forgiven, I would imagine, for being able to call this joke out.
It has been a very, very long time since I've talked about Dev, and to be honest, I've been trying to avoid talking about him, to the tune that I've not covered numerous scandals that he has been involved in.
I mean, to be fair, the guy is kind of a political lolcow at this point, to be perfectly honest. And it's annoying, because he did actually used to make really good content, but, some people, sometimes you just gotta watch someone, decline through dementia.
For months now. However, there is a certain threshold that it becomes something of a civic duty almost, where Dev does something that could reasonably be described as criminal. In this case, openly calling for the assassination of politicians that he does not like, such as J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, for example.
I would say, if there was a situation, right? If there was a situation where a right-winger were to, let's say a right-winger, let's say that there was a Democrat in office and a right-winger was asked that exact same question, and he said, do you value your channel? I would imagine that guy would probably have his door knocked down. Right? I'm pretty sure they wouldn't be a knock on his door. I'm pretty sure his door would knock the floor, to be perfectly honest. And again, that shows you the disparity in how law enforcement is applied, between the left and the right? And that disparity should teach you a lot about the system that we currently live in. Is he as much of a lolcow as Hassan? That's pretty hard. It's kind of hard. It's pretty hard to get to the point of the German brothel user, but maybe one day he'll get there, right? JD Republic says, I see his videos pop up on the feed, and I click interested, click not interested these days. Pretty much. FBI open up. Exactly, right? Do you value your channel? It's like, just under the table contacting the FBI. It's like, hello, it's me again. Yeah. If that, could you fucking imagine? It's like, well, oh my god, that hypothetical scenario is like, if I had a nickel for every time I was an FBI informant, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
You've entered the territory that, at least under the Canadian law under which Dev operates, what with him being a Canadian citizen, his recent conduct does fall under the purview of being potentially criminal. What with him promoting terror.
That was a joke, by the way.
Terrorism in the form of assassinating his political rivals. Dev thinks that's a good thing, apparently. But don't take my word for it. Here's the context of what he has actually advocated for and promoted just yesterday on a live stream debate on Wick TV's channel.
I mean, I do find it kind of surprising that you would be surprised that I also want my side to win then.
Yeah, but this gets into Voshian style territory, right? Where my principle is, where, to quote Vosh, right? My principle is winning. I don't give a fuck about principled failure. Principled failure is worth dog shit, right? It's like literally the fucking Vosh playbook at this point.
Especially since, by the way, until Trump pulled that stunt in 2020, I was not a partisan Democrat supporter. Like I first came to prominence on YouTube in the very small way that I came to prominence, being an anti-SJW, being an associate of Sargon's, talking about cultural issues, and I still don't like woke shit in video games and all that. But you know what? I will take all the woke shit in video games in the world if it means that Trump and MAGA have been purged from the Republican Party, because you know what? Cultural issues aren't the same thing as political issues.
So what are the limits you place on yourself? Like what would you?
So yeah, this is the thing that does sometimes happen, right? Where it's like, again, like you don't agree with this particular group, but for strategic purposes, it is more beneficial for you to side with a particular group, even though you don't actually agree with them, right? This is what he's describing, and sometimes that is actually the way you have to play the game, and sometimes it's really stupid to play the game that way. It is a case-by-case basis, and see, but Vosh sucks at trying to make a winning argument most of the time. I mean, that's fair, but that's because Vosh is like pure rhetoric and sophistry, to be perfectly honest. There's not an actual philosophical bone in Vosh's body. Like, Vosh is literally the fucking Freeran meme of demons use words to deceive, right? See, Captain Rudy says, I made a joke about Cinevere's stream about how Hassan isn't a lolcow, but rather the farm itself, because he's getting plowed and eaten, and I end up traumatizing her. Portion. Yeah, they probably put that idea in our head, and that was probably not pleasant. Right? Ain't nobody want to see that. Oh my god. It was funny though. It was definitely funny. It's like, yes, Vosh. How much he raged against Lolicon, and then it turned out it wasn't just Lolicon on his fucking computer. It was also literally the song. You know the song I'm thinking about. The fucking... and slam my cares away. Oh, what a fucking degenerate, man. Like, actual hypocrite. Hypocrite is not someone who does the opposite of what they say. Everyone fucking does it at some point. A hypocrite is that who preaches what they don't actually believe, right? Anyway, so let's see. Vosh is Vosh, yes. Canadian mind virus, absolutely. He was pretty, and actually, I was going to bring that up. He was pretty open about the horses. That is true. That is true. But Patriot Gestalt actually brings up a good point about the Canadian mind virus. Dev is saying this about a country he doesn't live in. Dev is not an American, and yet he is openly supporting the assassination of an American president. Dev is a Canadian. I think we should probably let that sink in for a moment. He's getting violently. He's advocating violence in a political setting he doesn't even have any stake in. Like, what is the actual stake that he has in Canada land about American elections? Is he afraid that Trump is going to fucking try to annex Canada? I mean, that actually might be one of the things. He probably heard Trump talk about, like, annexing Canada, and he was like, oh, no, I don't want to be an American, right? Which, by the way, I don't support annexing Canada. I know it was a joke. I don't support annexing Canada. Maybe Alberta, but that's about it, right? I guess we could also take Saskatchewan. But, again, I would rather not, because the problem with, like, annexing Canada would be all of the provinces would have to become new states. Like, there was a whole joke about just making Canada one big, huge state, and it's like, no, that would never fucking work. That's a retarded idea, right? But, I guess if you were going to annex Canada, you'd have to make each of the provinces their own state. And then you'd have more resources, but you'd also have the problem like Canadians are voting in your election system, right? Let's see. Counterpoint. I don't live in the UK, but that is true. That you know what? That you have a good counterpoint actually. It tracks though. There's been many Canadians that express the same views. Yeah. Well, I mean, Canada's nationalism is also left-wing, unlike the American nationalism, which is like more of a right-wing thing. Canada's a weird place. They didn't really have the their constitution until like the 80s anyway.
Not support in order to achieve that goal.
At this point, next to nothing. I think the Americans are very close to an actual hot war.
Okay, well then at least
an actual civil war.
I don't imagine his suggestion would actually decelerate that. I think it might accelerate it. I do think that, like, again, if there is going to be a civil war, it's going to be the left that wages it first and not the right. Because if we've seen anything, is that the right has a very, very strong humiliation, what would you say, tolerance. They are very, very willing to be like under the boot, and they're very, very willing to long suffer. And they're not the ones that give, the right is not the one that gives off the revolutionary fever. It's the one whose entire worldview is based on revolution that has the revolutionary fever, unfucking surprisingly, right? And Canada is the second largest country by land area. We'd have a state larger than the rest of the U.S. combined. Is it? Is that true? I don't know if that's true. Ladies and gentlemen, the tolerant left, right? If you don't capitulate to my demands, we kill you. Yeah, exactly. And right? That's the whole thing. Everyone used to say Dev was not Dev. Everyone used to say Destiny was a moderate leftist, and I was like, he's not moderate. He'll talk to you, but he's not moderate. And like, he turns out he was even less moderate than I thought, and I didn't particularly think he. But Dev now is like, oh yeah, we can just kill him. Actually, we could just do things. I'm like, well, I can't help but think that, like, if we switched the policies, right, and it was a Democrat in charge and it was a Republican or a right wing or a Canadian who said this, I think that they might be accused of stochastic terrorism. But
because I don't want to get Wick demonetized, but
there's already dead people in the streets, for fuck's sake. The Americans are there.
You accuse me of.
I think the Americans are really close to a hot civil war. There's already dead bodies in the street. The Americans are already there. The fucking, again, this is just catastrophizing.
Moral F-slurring when I called Pisco a tyrant and said I was trying to save my country. I think at this point, since you've said that there is basically nothing that you would not support in order to punish the Republicans, we can at least agree that to the extent that you and Pisco share the same positions, I was correct in saying that this is an overtly tyrannical position, which is probably why I was moral F-slurring, as you put it, in the face of overt tyranny.
Can I ask Dev a question on that? If you think
just real quick, though, just real quick. You keep saying it's tyrannical. It's
obviously tyrannical.
It's not. It's overthrowing a tyrant. Violence is not inherently tyrannical. All right. When you're
okay, so Dev does technically have a point here. Violence in and of itself is not necessarily a tyrannical thing, but at the same time, this is tyrannical. Again, capitulate to us or we kill you is a very tyrannical way of doing things. Okay. Amity and Nuka. Hello there, right? Hello, Amity. We're watching Dev spiral out from TDS.
Actually fighting a pure fucking evil faction, which, by the way, is what MAGA has become.
We're pure evil, friends, right? We don't like abortion, right? We don't think Iran should have nuclear weapons because of their, again, Twelverism and, the propensities that they've shown previously beforehand with other things. Let's see, what else is there? We don't like communism. Right? We think America's great, actually, right? I was like, yes, we are pure fucking evil. We're ontologically evil, as Dev in a previous video has said about, like, again, what the left views. Incidentally, when he said that, like, why the left hates the right, it's because they define them as ontologically evil. There we go. Dev is defining the MAGA group as ontologically evil. Yeah. Even though a lot of MAGA is just, to be perfectly honest, Democrats from the 90s. Let's see. Looks teaser. It's been an idea pushed for a long time. The people in power have wanted to make North American Union for a long time, comprised of Canada, America, and Mexico, Trans-Pacific Partnership, or TTP. Oh, I'm aware of this. The problem is that Mexico is held together by literal cartel violence. Well, I mean, it's being torn apart by it, but to be perfectly honest, Mexico was never a stable situation in the first place. And, like, Canada is held together by duct tape and string, right? Canada is, like, constantly on the edge of instability. It's like the most meta-stable thing I've ever seen. I see you hit the auto mod, Captain Rudy. God help you, right? We're talking exclusively land area. Canada is number 4. That sounds more plausible. How dare you not like communism, that fascist, right? See, again, exactly, right? But the communists do say that, right? You don't like communism, you're a fascist, even though literally fascism is a distillation of communism that happened because the Italians were, again, upset with the internationalism of Marxism. But, you know, the message got sent, but then it got deleted. Who the fuck deleted it?
Yeah, when you actually start fighting them and you're like, oh, shit, it's actually a war now. We got to fight. That's not tyrannical. That's war.
Hey, can I?
Okay.
Now I have a question though for Dev.
I bet you do, Wick.
So, if you think that we are at this point in America, would it be morally justified? Since I'm just asking, are you being rhetorical, or do you actually believe we are about to go to civil war? Would political assassinations be morally justified at this point?
Do you value your channel?
Okay, that's all I need.
So, fun fact, the Catholic Church is actually very adamant that political assassinations are not allowed. But, you know, that's neither here nor there.
Did know. Okay, carry on.
So, actually, I can't help but notice Trump didn't assassinate Maduro, right? He took Maduro for prosecution. He did, you know, they did kill Khomeini, right? But let's be fair, that would have been a far more dangerous extraction plan, right? And again, didn't kill the president of Cuba, right? Just embargoed him with the hopes of collapsing the government. Captain Rudy said, oh no, wait, hold on. Patriot Gestalt says Canada is culturally French-based. Go figure. Part of it, right? So there's French and British Canada. The British Canada is kind of depends, right? Like Alberta's cool. Ontario, not so much. Thank you for the follow, Yanukai. Let's see here. But yeah, Canada is a intrinsically unstable union, to be perfectly honest. I don't think Canada will last will last as long as the United States has, to be perfectly honest. Let's see. I stand. Captain Rudy says, I said I stand corrected. Canada is the second largest country by total area, meaning land and territorial waters. That would make more sense. Countries by land area are Russia, Canada, U.S., China, Brazil. That's what I would have guessed. Okay. That's a fucking, like, that is a actually Kino Nux. Holy crap. Quebec is French Canada. No, there's more than Quebec. There's also the fucking Newfoundland and Labrador and the Maritimes. So there is more French Canada than just Quebec. Quebec is just the one everyone knows.
Oh yeah, as you can see, Dev is just being openly in favor of assassinating his political opposition. He is openly calling for violence in order to achieve his political agenda.
Again, I just reverse the situation. I'm pretty sure someone like Dev would accuse me of being a stochastic terrorist if we just flipped this around and I was saying the things that Dev said, right? Like, let's be fair here, right? This also goes back to the thing of like, oh yeah, I would, you know, Dev's like, I would not, I would support basically anything at this point, except for lifting my own fat ass to do it myself, right? Someone else has got to do the thing for me. Someone else has to die. I have more important things to do than to die for what I believe in, right? Quebec is French Canada. The rest is British. Oh wait, I already responded to that. By exclusively land, it goes Russia, China, U.S., Canada. By total area, it's Russia, Canada, China, U.S. That also sounds like more or less what I would have guessed.
When you're doing that to civilians, that is ultimately what, at the end of the day, makes it terrorism. And of course, for all of Dev's talk of there already being blood in the streets, he of course hopes you kindly ignore the fact that it is the left that has been responsible for that blood spilling in the streets. Just look at the numerous assassination attempts against the president, leading up to Dev's arguments in favor.
And we recently had, hold on, how long, well, that was not the button I wanted to press. But like, how long ago was this? 2 days ago, right? Yeah, didn't we just have an attempted assassination that was thwarted by law enforcement against the president, where they were doing what Hassan, by the way, said to do? Because Hassan was the one who said, "Oh yes, buy some drones and use that to fight, right? Just buy a bunch of drones from China, right?" Excuse me, the UFC one, yeah. And it's but Hassan literally said how to do this, and then someone went and tried to do it. This is literally what these people have been talking about with stochastic terrorism. It's like, oh, I didn't do it. You can't really trace it back to me because I didn't exactly have any contact with these people. I just put it out there so that some other person, a lone wolf or, some other radical actor will do it for me. That's literally the whole premise behind stochastic terrorism. It's like, how is this not stochastic terrorism? Let's see. Captain Rudy says, about a month ago at the correspondence dinner. Yeah. Let's see. Amity Yanuka said, I've been accused of being a fascist for not liking Palestine, so this word means nothing to me. Well, I mean, fascism does have a real meaning. It's just the left, by making it everything they don't like, has hollowed it out of its meaning. Like, fascism properly understood is the political project of actual idealism, right? It is a daughter religion to Marxism that's just not that's more national, not internationalist. Like, you can actually talk about what the fascists actually believed, but in order to do that, you have to speak with precision, which is not how the left speaks. They made the word fascist imprecise so they could use it as a weapon, and they will pretend as if it's again, there's some kind of real sociological the utility to using the word fascist the way they do, but no, it's just to sow confusion. JD Republic says, full-on terrorist plan, PsyOp Anime made the best video on it. I plan on reacting to that on the weekend, by the way, because I saw part of it and I was like, hold on, I need to watch this on stream. That defense won't work. 2 words, Charles Manson. Right? Oh my god, right?
Of assassinating the president, some of which resulted in very real loss of life to random innocents, who Dev then tried to smear by lying about them.
I mean, yeah, he did mock Corey. I don't remember what the guy's last name was. Corey Camport or something like that. I don't remember what the guy's last name was. But yeah, again, the guy who died protecting his family. Yeah, and then Dev goes on and makes fun of the guy. It's like, oh no, that's in bad taste.
Needless to say, Dev is actually, like I said, entering the territory of actual criminal conduct, though, by just openly promoting terrorism, as seen with his conduct just yesterday. Which leads me...
It's we don't allow slander and free speech because slander is not really free speech. The entire point of that is slander is a spell made to, again, have real causal effect on someone. It's the same thing with promoting terrorism. There's a reason that that's not really free speech, is because, again, you're trying to effecate a real thing into coming into being. Specifically, an attack on an attack that creates compliance through fear. Yeah, this is not free speech. This is literal spell casting. He'll regret socialism when his drill sergeant demands exercise. That's fair, right? Let's see. There is an element of treating the state as deity in fascism. It's been a while since I reviewed the text. There is. So the state is defined as the collective of all human endeavor, and the actual idealist believes that the reality is itself the interplay between human minds, right? So that's why it's, again, everything within the state, nothing outside the state, nothing against the state. Is a literal metaphysical doctrine of fascism. Everything within the state is because the state is the collective of all human activity. It is the interplay of human consciousness that creates reality. So literally everything is within the state because the state is God. The state, literally, the collective of all human activity or consciousness, actually generates the world around it, creates the world. Nothing against the state, because, again, since if they can control human minds, then they can literally rewrite reality the way that they see fit. And then, what was it? So that's nothing outside the state. And did we already cover nothing against the state? Yeah, everything inside, nothing outside, and then everything, nothing against. Yeah, so that would cover it all. So yes, the state is literally God in fascism. So there's actually very few fascists. There are other things, right? And Nazism is not a form of fascism. Nazism is a different error. But let's see. If he is lucky enough to not be disappeared, so he isn't a threat to the new regime, right? Cough, cough, China, cough. Yeah.
To me deciding to take action on this. Before I continue, I should mention one little bit of context here. This is Dev's own personal YouTube wiki page that is publicly available for all to see. You may notice that literally the first piece of information that is contained within it is his full legal name. It has been there for years. Here are logs to show that it has not been.
I am a little disappointed that he showed a picture that has the... I mean, I'm not as fat as Short Fat Otaku, right? I mean, fat's in the guy's name, right? Let's be fair, right? But that being said, I'm kind of disappointed that I have that exact same Flash shirt, just in a smaller size that actually fits me. Like, he had to show a picture where the guy was wearing one of my shirts, basically, and I'm like, ah, damn.
And changed for months. So when I decided to let the law enforcement authorities of both the US and Canadian governments aware of Dev's behavior, it is not doxing for me to use his full legal name. It is, again, the first piece of information on his own personal YouTube wiki page.
Okay, so he's using this to give, because he actually uses it in the tweet, right? I'm going to read the tweet. So, hey, at FBI and at RCMPGRC Police, you might want to have a look at this Canadian citizen named Devon Del Vecchio, of course he's Italian, who is openly calling for the assassination of American politicians he does not like. Hey, at FBI Director Cash, you may want to check out this activist openly calling for the assassination of American politicians. Yeah, I actually think that Ace is probably completely justified in doing this. If I found out a friend of mine was doing this on stream, I'd probably be like, well, I'm not going down with you, right? Right? I'm not going down with you. No assassinations on my watch.
It has been up there for years, and using his full legal name, it is hoped, would actually make it easier for any potential investigations by the authorities on this particular matter. So when Dev tries to claim that I somehow provided forbidden information that nobody knew, that's a lie. It's information that he allowed to stay up on his own personal YouTube wiki page for years. And he is now only complaining because I provided the information to the authorities over concerns of his criminal conduct.
Okay, so let's pause this so we can read the other thing. Okay, I gotta do two of these then. So this is from Dev. Bro, hold the fucking phone. At Ryan McMully, it's totally fine if you think I lost the debate and you want to gloat about it. That's normal and expected. It's fucking unhinged for your post-debate rhetoric to consist of you retweeting my docs from a guy who has stalked me from years. Okay, so he's complaining that Ace, quote-unquote, doxed the guy, which I don't really think is the case. I'm pretty sure they've literally... I mean, Dev has, like, shown his actual face before, so it's like... I highly doubt he was actually doxxed. Again, as he said, that information was up. He knew this information was up. But anyway, so...
to the authorities over concerns of his criminal conduct. But I hear you ask, did Dev actually learn his lesson and decide that maybe not trying to promote terrorism and assassinating political leaders that you don't like is a bad idea? Well, no, he has since decided to double down and openly argue that yes, killing politicians is a good thing, apparently.
Here's my view of political assassination summed up in one image. Fucking Sic Semper Tyrannis. I'm not going to get banned for titty on the flag, am I?
Even going so far as to evoke the words of John Wilkes Booth right after he had shot President Lincoln. And yes, I know John Wilkes Booth isn't exactly the originator of the quote. However, in the context of the assassination of U.S. presidents specifically, or indeed U.S. politicians in general, the reutterance by John Wilkes Booth right after he had shot President Lincoln is how most people in the U.S. remember that particular quote. So yeah.
I don't know if he actually thinks this, but what are the odds that Dev thinks that Abraham Lincoln was the good guy in that conflict, and then like he's just quoting fucking the guy who assassinated who we believe to be the good guy in this, in that entire conflict, right? It's like, what the fuck are we doing here, my guy, right? Are you a neo-Confederate? Why are you doing this? Of course, I don't think he's a neo-Confederate, but
Yes, we have now entered the territory of Dev just openly promoting terrorism through his open promotion of the assassination of political figures. At the end of the day, this isn't really that much of a surprise. Dev's own positions were inevitably going to lead him to this conclusion someday. I recognized this years ago. It's one of the multitude of reasons why I have opposed him for a while. Hopefully this is the last video I ever have to make on Dev, but that's not because I expect Dev to actually get better or more sane. I think he is going to end up getting even more crazy as time goes on. It's just a case that his decreasing relevance is fast catching up with him, which is why he has had a dead channel for a while now. He is speaking to an ever-shrinking platform due specifically to his conduct, to the tune that even some of his supporters like Wick are starting to disavow some of the crazier things he has said.
Is this possibly part of the reason why he thinks that this violent rhetoric is necessary? Not necessarily to get views. I'm just spitballing here. Is it possible that he believes he's being reasonable, and that the people leaving him is an indication that things are becoming more unreasonable instead of more reasonable, right? Because again, it's like, if you believe that the reasonable option is this, and then people are leaving you for it, then presumably he may actually think that people are actually not, they don't actually want the reasonable option, or what he believes to be the reasonable option. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. That might make sense to someone, maybe not me. Captain Rudy says GRC is the French abbreviation for the RCMP. JD Republic says the first people communists get rid of after consolidating power is the intellectuals and the activists, because they're the ones with the skills to start another revolution. Yep. Lux Tizer says, I don't know if you ever heard of Noah Yuval Harari, but he's Klaus Schwab's right-hand man. I definitely recognize that name. And he talks about using tech surveillance and tech to take away free will, in his own words. I mean, that was predicted in 1984, right? Let's see, Image, imagine if he was secretly the Flash. Good thing the run limit is 1 minute. Oh, good lord. I hope he steps on a metal D4. Ooh, yeah, that would be pretty bad. Let's see. Okay, so hello, Bravenlow. At least it would be funny if he started going about on the South Rising again. Yeah, there was always that one. It's like, oh no, like, oh, Noise Maze 4, hello. It's like, oh no, is this the woke ass Canadian dev guy? Yes. JD Republic says, imagine if the Dems lose in the midterms despite not living in the US, he will go bananas. I would really love to see him just like crash out from that, to be perfectly honest. In me, there are two wolves, both of which kind of want to see Dev crash out, but for different reasons. Thomas, hello Thomas. Says maybe it's more that all that remains of his audience is reinforcing his position. That might be the case, but Dev has also been the kind of person to tell his audience to go fuck themselves. So I do think that maybe there might be some audience capturing here, but not in the way that we would traditionally think. I think that, again, he might be being gassed up for some of this by his audience. Hello to you too, right? Gavin Reddy says, it's like the anti-vaxxers who think vaccines cause autism, see a doctor that support their theory, the vaccines cause autism, and get their medical licenses revoked, and the CC, they're trying to silence us. Kind of, yeah.
Going to abandon him? No, of course not. At least not right now. Wick's a snake, and a particularly unprincipled one at that. He won't come out and openly say assassinating political opposition is a good thing, actually. Instead, he's going to distract as much as possible from the fact that Dev argued that.
I have no idea who Wick is, to be perfectly honest. I've never actually seen a Wick video.
He's going to go, oh, look at the poor widow victim that is Dev, who had information that he allowed on his own personal YouTube wiki page for years to be presented to the law enforcement agencies of 2 different countries. And of course, Wick hopes that you completely ignore the fact that this was done very specifically because Dev's own conduct is such that an investigation is legitimately warranted in this situation. Wick also, of course, would hope that you kindly ignore the fact that when called out on his bullshit, Dev decided to double down with his post evoking John Wilkes Booth. You know, the man that was upset that the country that was formed by a bunch of angry Democrats lost their attempt at rebellion. With all of that said, if you're in agreement with my position that maybe the authorities should investigate Dev over this, since, like I said, he's promoting terrorism through promoting the assassination of...
I actually agree with Ace. I think that making the call was actually the right move here. Because, again, like... Personally, to me, this seems like it would fall under stochastic terrorism at the least. And yeah, sure, it would be really fucking hard to get him under stochastic terrorism. But it's like, again, it does seem like the principle of the matter. Also, by the way, I understand chat is blocking this, so I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make chat disappear for a moment. What a fucking like thumbnail and title. But anyway, chat's back on. Hold on. Noise Maze said, I actually used to watch Dev and thought he was fairly reasonable up until the point where he started going super TDS when Trump was running a second time. Then I stopped. Yeah, a lot of people have that. He had a good video about how Vosh is evil, though. Oh, yeah, that is a good video of his. Again, some of the stuff that he has previously do still hold up. Captain Rudy says Hassan has actually said that. He straight up said he wants the streets to run red with capitalist blood. Yeah, he'll say he's being rhetorical, but let's be fair. We all know that he's not. Let's see. Blue Huckley said he's so unhealthy for so long it's eroding his humanity. Not joking. I mean, possibly. Yeah, I mean, your gut microbiome does affect your cognition. JD Republic says him and his audience are circle jerking each other. There's an image I didn't need in my head. Lux Tizzer said, I would say 1984 is the tech light version compared to Schwab's fourth industrial revolution, or Zbigniew Brzezinski. That's definitely a Polish word. Between two ages, yeah. Well, Klaus Schwab and like all of those people like George Soros, they're attempting to do social alchemy. So yeah, Dev secretly complimenting Trump as Lincoln Reborn. I'm gonna run with that because that's just really fucking funny.
Political figures he doesn't like, then I will, for your convenience, include a link to my tweets on this matter in the description below.
All right, so that's going to be it for this particular episode. That was our video on reacting to Ace 1918. Again, hopefully that was transformative. I didn't really have that much to say about some of this. Oh, wait, actually, before we go, hold on. I think Rudy actually linked me something about, hold on, where the fuck was it? It was a while ago. Here it is. I think this is the one you sent me for this conversation. So let's see what this is. Okay, that's totally different. I thought you sent me the Vosh clip. Oh my god. So okay, so that is definitely the end of the video for the Ace 1918 video. In general, I agree with the reason that he called the FBI, that he informed the FBI. I think that was probably a prudential move on his part, because even if it turns out Dev isn't actually planning to do anything, if he was planning to do something, he could have been potentially fucked over by not making that report. Fuck Soros, he give Jews a bad name. He does more than that. He does a lot more than that. And Soros, yes, and Soros is evil. Midna saved Zelda. Yep. Let's see. Better than the Vouch clip. Yes, definitely better than the Vouch clip. I actually can watch Cine. Cine's actually entertaining and actually knows more than Vosh. But, alright, so that'll be the end of this episode. I'll see y'all in the next episode. Okay, so now that we have that recording is done. I'm surprised you didn't catch that before copying and pasting the link, because it literally says the name of the video. To be fair, I did not actually see it. All right, let's see what we have here. I'm probably not going to make this into a video because, again, it's fucking like 50 seconds, but I'll watch it. Let's see.
She referenced next with Diabolical. Oh, okay, I see. Hey, Captain Rady, thank you so much, honey. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Hassan is a literal farm getting plowed and eaten. No, Rudy, no. Bad. I need a spray bottle emo. Oh my goodness. I don't want to think of that. We just got past that gay stuff. Oh, if you've got shoe on head giving you this much smoke, you're 1,000% retarded. Especially if he's going around saying that he hasn't seen any of her content. It's like, I think that makes you lose credibility on your opinion, sir. But once again, Captain Rudy, thank you so much. I do appreciate you, honey. Strike him down, City.
That's entirely fair. All right, I just noticed it's 23:41, so I should probably get the fuck out of here. But that being said, I need to find someone to raid, and Exeline is currently on. I know she's not in the community, but she is interested in AI. So that's probably a good thing. She is a bit of a sweetheart. Let's see. Yeah, I haven't seen her on for like ages, so fuck it, we ball. In before it turns out that like she's fucking shutting down stream right now, right? You guys should have seen the one where she watched Shy Lily's poop story. That was good. City freak out react. I don't want to hear anything about Shy Lily taking a shit, to be perfectly honest. It's just good night, Kianella. All right, I'm gonna set this up to raid XLN. So I'll put the link in the chat. So that way, again, YouTube and Kick can follow if they so choose to. Let me see. Okay, so that is for Twitch. Okay, start raid. I don't know if she has any other things. Wait. Oh, is she asleep? Fucking hell, mate. Hold on. Hold on. Let me check something, because she actually might be asleep, and that would be really fucking weird. Oh, no, wait. She's just on break. Okay, yeah, she's just on break. In that case, yeah, sure, raid. Oh, shit. Alrighty then. There we go. Y'all have a lovely time.